Hey everyone, how's it going? Hopefully you're inside and staying warm on this blustery cold day. I'm here at the Sosuco Urban Ag Demonstration Site once again, and I wanted to talk a little bit about cold nighttime ambient air temperature. So it's very likely that last night we will have experienced the low ambient air temperature for the winter season. Now, the winter isn't over yet, but typically, January and early February is when I've noticed that those temperatures generally tend to occur. So I wanted to make a little video about it. Today's January 26th. Don't know if I'll be getting this out on January 26th, but last night, or I should say this evening, early this morning, in fact, around 7 a.m. is when the low temperature was actually recorded. So here at the demo site, I have a series of data loggers, temperature data loggers, pretty simple Bluetooth operated data loggers. I'll show you one here in a second. And outside of the tunnel here, the high tunnel that I'm standing in, we recorded a -9 degree Fahrenheit ambient air temperature. So that's not wind chill, that's -9 absolute air temperature. And inside the tunnel, I'll show you the tunnel here in a second, it only got down to 5.5. So that's about a 14.5 degree temperature swing difference between outside and inside of the tunnel. And I'll show you how I achieved that, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a second. But this is, again, this always really wonderful proof that the winter system does work for certain crops. Now, obviously, we're not growing tomatoes in warm season and really cold temperature sensitive crops, but there are a few crops that really work well even here in this northern climate if you protect them with these season extension structures. So spinach is going to be the example I'll show you. Spinach production in the winter is absolutely something that can be achieved. But there's obviously a number of production planning factors you have to consider in order to be successful at it. So we'll take a look at a couple of those things and make just this short, quick video. Hopefully I'll get this out, maybe not today, but likely tomorrow at some point. So let's go ahead and look at what we have going on. Okay, so here is one of the data loggers I use. Again, not advocating for any particular brand, but this is a sensor push Bluetooth temperature and humidity, and this actually does vapor pressure deficit as well, so it measures 3 environmental factors. It's pretty waterproof, and you can hang them in a number of different locations. So these are used oftentimes in brewing operations, for coolers, in restaurants, maybe even in transportation. It's not a top-of-the-line data logger, but it works really well. The temperature range is really, really wide. I think it goes down, to several dozen degrees below zero, and I can't remember what the upper limit is, but it has a decent amount of storage. It can track, I think, multiple years worth of data, and you can download this via your Bluetooth connection. So that's the nice thing about this one from Sensor Push. There's others out there like Temp Stick, and there's probably a bunch of other brands. Again, not advocating for this brand. This is just the one that I happen to be using. I like this one though because it actually will operate just on Bluetooth only. So if you're within 300 feet of the sensor, you pair it with the app on your phone, and you can download the data. So if you have this at your house or your farm, and those are the same location, if you're within about 300 feet or so, this essentially acts like a sort of wireless, like it is connected to the internet. You can hook this up to a router system where you could monitor the temperature wherever you're at, as long as you're connected to the internet. But here at the demonstration farm, we don't have internet, so I just download the data whenever I come here. So I have 2 of them here in the middle of the tunnel, and then I actually currently have one of this one right here. I have it outside, tucked under the ledge of one of our raised beds. So it kind of gives me an ambient air temperature out of doors. So here we are back in the tunnel. You've seen this before. And again, the outside ambient air temperature last night was -9 degrees outside, -9 Fahrenheit. And inside, in here, The data logger's roughly about there in the middle, just to the right of that gray band that you see out there. Under the cover in the middle, it got down to about 5.5 degrees. So again, that reflects a 14, almost 15 degree temperature difference between outside and inside. And that's really remarkable, especially in an unheated structure, that you can get that much temperature difference. And what's even more interesting is that, especially on the nights when the outside temperature is very, very cold, the difference between the outside temperature and the temperature in here underneath the covers is even greater in many cases. So it's a very interesting phenomenon, but it holds up. I've seen that data multiple times over multiple years on other farms. It holds up pretty solidly. Now, I did actually last night go ahead and hook up this very, very small electric greenhouse heater. So I don't know what the BTU is on it, but it's very small. It's only 1,500 watts. It wasn't really doing anything, but I decided to hook it up to see if I could use an electric heater kind of as an emergency heater. I actually have it hooked up to this thermostat that's designed for use with smaller space heaters. And as you can see, the low set point is only down to 45 degrees. It's currently just under 50 degrees in here. And I can set it to as low as 45. So right now it's off. But when it gets, obviously drops below 45, this thing will kick on. And it puts out just a little bit of heat. And I had it hooked up in here just in case. It probably didn't make that much of a difference. Obviously, you can get much larger greenhouse heaters that will maintain a certain, whatever set point you want to set. But this system is really, I'm trying to be as minimalistic as possible. So it may make some sense to maybe try to get a slightly larger electric heater. And the nice thing about the electric heater, obviously, there's no fumes, so you don't need to vent it. It does use a lot of energy. I haven't checked how much energy I used last night by having this on probably all night until this afternoon. So supplemental heat during super cold snaps is a possibility, but I don't really think that some of these crops that you're still harvesting in here really even need that. So just to show you, we'll come under here and look. And as you can see, we still have a nice crop underneath here. So this is all the spinach trials we're conducting this winter. Haven't harvested from this bed yet, but these are from some very late October plantings. And they've sized up nicely, and they're just kind of holding this size until we get in here to actually harvest them. So, I mean, I can show you here and just pull one of these leaves. It's fully thawed out, ready to go, ready to eat. That's the thing about the system in here, though, is that you do need to wait until temperatures get warm enough so you can actually harvest. So it's 5.5 degrees in here. The spinach leaves last night or the earliest morning probably were frozen, but these crops can handle those temperatures because it's just part of their genotype. And their phenotype mixed with the phenotype, they can actually survive those temperatures. So the system does work. Again, you can't grow everything that you want in here, but with just a little bit of obviously a high tunnel infrastructure and some additional coverage, you can do a lot with a high tunnel. So I just wanted to show you that some progress and what's been going on this winter. So we're actually going to come in here and harvest these spinach crops relatively soon. And once things start picking up in terms of temperature, we'll take these covers off, start clearing the beds out and getting this tunnel ready for the, some of the late winter plantings we might reseed, some things like spinach and some other, and lettuce that are in the plan. But then ultimately getting the tunnels ready for the sort of mid-April planting dates of warm season crops that we're planting here, a month, 6 weeks earlier than warm season crops out there. So stay tuned for videos related to that in the future. But for now, let's go ahead and cut it off there, and we will talk to everyone again soon. All right, stay warm. Take care.